Xiaomi is getting pretty serious in the ultra premium smartphone segment in India. Now, last year it tested the waters with the Mi 10 5G, and this year it's going all out with the new Mi 11 Ultra. Now, some of the headlining features of this phone include a Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chip. You get an almost 1-inch 50 megapixel primary camera, a 48 megapixel telephoto camera with up to a 120x digital zoom, and 67 watts of wireless charging. Now, that's a lot of hardware for just 70,000 rupees. Now, in India, buying a Xiaomi phone typically means spending under 25,000 rupees, but this is its most expensive phone yet, which actually goes against the brand perception that it's created for itself of being a value player, especially in the smartphone segment. Now, this is a big hurdle that Xiaomi hopes to overcome, but is the Mi 11 Ultra the answer? And more importantly, should you be choosing this over other phones such as the OnePlus 9 Pro, the iPhone 12 mini, or even the Samsung Galaxy S21? Hi, I'm Roy and you're watching Gadgets 360, and this is my review of the Mi 11 Ultra. Now, before we go ahead, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and also hit that bell icon so you're the first to know whenever we have a new video. Since the cameras are the headline maker of this device, let's talk about that first. The Mi 11 Ultra comes with 3 rear cameras, a primary 50 megapixel sensor, which is by far the largest used in any smartphone to date, a 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera that has the widest field of view in any smartphone currently, and finally another 48 megapixel telephoto camera with a 5x optical zoom and up to a 120x digital zoom. That's even more than the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. The cameras do in fact live up to the hype. Daylight landscape shots generally turned out great. Colors look natural with good dynamic range and no visible noise or texture distortion even along the edges. The ultra-wide camera managed to cram in a lot in one frame, however objects along the edges looked a bit soft and not too detailed. It also produces usable shots at night provided you use night mode. Now, the main camera also managed very good looking photos with minimal noise in low light. Close-ups mostly turned out great, but it can be challenging to get your entire subject in focus if you're too close to it. The large sensor and the wide aperture together make for a very narrow plane of focus, which can blur out parts of your subject that you might actually want in focus. Speaking of close-ups, the macro mode, which uses the ultra-wide camera, has a longer minimum focus distance than I would have liked, due to which you can't really get too close to your subject. I found the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra and even the OnePlus 9 Pro to be much better in this department. Coming to the zoom performance, photos from the Mi 11 Ultra are usually the sharpest at 5x and 10x magnification, after which the quality begins trailing off. Images at even around 40x are still usable, although not as sharp as the S21 Ultra, but at 100x or even 120x, textures tend to look mushy and the text, if any, isn't really recognizable. 120x zoom is great for bragging rights, but just like the Galaxy S21 Ultra's 100x, it's not particularly useful in most cases. The Mi 11 Ultra can also record videos at up to 8K from all of the 3 rear cameras, but only at 24 FPS. Now, oddly, the camera app doesn't let you switch between the sensors while recording, even at 1080p resolution. I thankfully didn't encounter any overheating issues with 8K recording on the Mi 11 Ultra. The video quality is generally good across resolutions and footage is stabilized well, even in low light. The phone can even record HDR 10+ videos at 4K, but colors tend to look heavily oversaturated, so I didn't really end up using this feature too much. The Mi 11 Ultra features a 20 megapixel selfie camera that captured decent quality images during the day. Skin tones looked fairly natural and HDR worked well. Now, I noticed low-light selfies generally had weaker details and noise even though they were taken in relatively well-lit areas. The good news is that the Mi 11 Ultra's rear display can be used as a viewfinder, so you can take high-quality selfies from any of the rear cameras. Yeah, I know that was a lot to take in, but barring a few issues, I think it's safe to say that the Mi 11 Ultra's cameras are pretty much top-notch. Now, moving on to something a little more lighter and subtle, the design. Well, that's not entirely accurate since, as you can see, the design of the Mi 11 Ultra is anything but subtle or light. It has one of the most unusual designs that you'd come across on a smartphone for sure. That big hulking camera bump at the back is something you'll be able to spot from a mile out. It also makes the phone quite top-heavy, weighing in at 234 grams. The Mi 11 Ultra has an aluminium frame, a curved display with Corning Gorilla Glass Victus, and a ceramic back. A side benefit of this big camera hump is that it doesn't wobble when used on a flat surface, and it tends to offer a bit of extra support for one-handed use. Now, I actually found it a bit more comfortable than the iPhone 12 Pro Max thanks to the complete lack of any sharp edges on the body, and regular phone duties such as calling and texting weren't really a problem. Now, I understand that this design can be overwhelming at first, but it's just a matter of getting used to like any other large smartphone. Now, on the Mi 11 Ultra, you get a large 6.81-inch Quad HD Plus AMOLED panel with a 120Hz refresh rate and support for HDR10+ and Dolby Vision playback. It is easily one of the best out there in terms of brightness and color accuracy. It's also one of the few smartphone displays that I've seen which has curved edges on all four sides. Due to this, performing on-screen gestures is smoother and frictionless. The rear 1.1-inch display can be used to check the time, battery status, or to answer or reject an incoming call. You can even use it to display a message or even a photo from the gallery. There's also an in-display fingerprint sensor in the Mi 11 Ultra, which isn't the quickest or the most consistent in my experience. In fact, I found face recognition to be much more reliable. Powering the Mi 11 Ultra is Qualcomm's Snapdragon 888 5G SoC. Phone also supports a total of 13 5G bands, which is great since we've seen other phones with the same SoC such as the OnePlus 9 Pro, which only supports 2. Some of the other key specs include stereo speakers tuned by Harman Kardon, which by the way sound really loud and great. There's also IP68 rating for dust and water resistance, high-res audio support for both wired and wireless headphones, and a linear haptic motor for more precise vibration feedback. Now, the Mi 11 Ultra is only available in a single variant with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of UFS 3.1 storage. Not only is the Mi 11 Ultra a workhorse that managed to clock in an impressive score in benchmarks such as Antutu, but it can also double up as a gaming phone. It handled most of the heavy titles such as Call of Duty Mobile with ease without getting uncomfortably hot. Now, there are a lot of customizations within MIUI that games can also take advantage of. The Mi 11 Ultra is running on MIUI 12 on top of Android 11 that largely delivered an ad-free and spam-free experience. There are additional themes that you can always try and other features such as always-on display, transition effects, and even the ability to change the layout of the shortcuts to mimic iOS. The Mi 11 Ultra packs in a sizable 5000 mAh battery, which I found to be more than sufficient to get me through a full day of even heavy gaming and camera use. Now, the best part is it can charge very quickly thanks to support for 67 watts wired and wireless charging. Now, the Indian units will ship with a 55-watt charger in the box due to some certification constraints at the time of launch. Now, I was able to charge the battery up to 99% in an hour using this adapter, which I think is still pretty quick. I didn't have Xiaomi 67-watt wireless charger with me, but the Mi 11 Ultra still charged quite rapidly using the company's older 30-watt wireless charger. The Mi 11 Ultra offers everything one could possibly ask for in a premium flagship smartphone, and it does all of these things very well. A couple of areas where we could use some improvement would be the speed of the fingerprint sensor, and perhaps the camera app could be a bit more flexible. There are other minor software bugs that need fixing too. The areas in which the Mi 11 Ultra excels includes the excellent build quality, the vivid high refresh rate display, an all-day battery life, and of course the very good set of cameras. Now, the aggressive price tag of 69,999 rupees pits it directly against flagships such as the OnePlus 9 Pro, the iPhone 12 Mini, and the Samsung Galaxy S21 5G. And compared to these offerings, I think the Mi 11 Ultra does offer better value for money. Now, choosing the Mi 11 Ultra over the other veterans in this segment might seem like a leap of faith, but honestly, I think that's something that's worth taking. So that's been it for my review of the Mi 11 Ultra. Let me know what you think about this smartphone in the comments below. And as always, for all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.